there's a chance, and I don't want to piss any Seattle Sanders fans off or Inter Miami, that they don't win a game in this thing, right? Either of the two teams. There's a real chance of that happening. We hope it doesn't happen. But then what if you go 2 or 3 tournaments where your MLS teams don't win a game?
Let's get into the FIFA Club World Cup draw that happened today. It took about 5 hours longer than it should have, but that is right on brand for FIFA and all the pageantry that they like to do and get everybody dressed up to get some balls out of a bowl. And we're going to talk specifically about the 2 CONCACAF teams, or excuse me, the two MLS teams, I should say. In Group A, you got Palmeiras, you got Porto, you got Al Ahly, and you got Inter Miami. Many are saying that this is one of the easiest groups in the competition. Maybe, I'm going to air quotes, rigged, right? That's what everybody wants to say to that. Group B, Sounders got absolutely hosed. They got hosed. They got PSG. They got Atletico Madrid. They got Botafogo, who just won the Copa Libertadores. And then there's the Seattle Sounders.
All I know is if I'm playing for Seattle Sounders, this is why I want to play in that competition.
Yeah, of course. I would love that.
It's that simple. Typically, if you're an MLS team and you're playing against Atletico Madrid or PSG or any of these big clubs, Real Madrid, it's a friendly. And it's a friendly. We all know it's a friendly because a lot of these guys, they come here and they know I just got to be here because of marketing. The club wants me to play. I don't want to get injured. They're not playing with everything when they go into these matches. With this Club World Cup,
stages. Maybe not in the group stages.
No, but no. In Club World Cup, this is a real competition.
All right.
The players who play, you're playing for a reason. There's a purpose. It's not just a friendly. It's a competition. So you're going to get the best version of them at that point. They could be worn out, right? They could be tired because of the club fixtures, the schedule fixture. But in terms of what you're going to get from these teams, the teams are coming to win. So if I'm a Seattle Sounders player, I'm cheering because I'm like, this is where you get tested. This is where you see how good you are. This is where you see, hey, I gave my best and I showed I could play against the best in Europe or some of the best in Europe. So I love this.
All right, so
man, who did the Sounders piss off, Jimmy? Because that is some Botafogo. You mentioned they're not only won Copa Lib, they're about to win the league this week. As well. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's proper. And what's funny is that the FIFA Club World Cup had 8 teams before, and a couple teams had to start the tournament, and then they maybe would play Man City's, Real Madrid's, excuse me, in the semifinals. And that was the tournament. It wasn't very long. And when they switched it to 32 teams, I thought, yeah, what a money grab, But now that it's here, and I've seen the draw, I'm actually pretty excited about it. I'm not going to lie. So, Tones, do you think either one of these MLS teams has a chance? Inter Miami, on paper, a little bit easier than the Sounders. But if Inter Miami doesn't shore up their defense, it's going to be a short tournament for them.
It's Al Ahly first, right? In the first game for Inter Miami, that you have to get 3 points, right? If you're going to have a chance, and then you got to hope that something else, you get another result, and then some draws in some of the other games. But I'm sure everyone's looking at this group, Palmeiras and Porto. They're looking at Al Ahly and going, "Hey, that's the game we got to get 3 points in, right?" So, but Inter Miami's not a shoo-in in that one. Yeah, I think it's gonna be hard for either of these teams. Sounders. I mean, that's about as tough as it gets, man.
I mean,
look at the rest. That's really tough.
Poor guys. I mean, yeah, I ultimately agree with you, Chuck. If you're a player, bring those guys on. Like at some point, you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. That cliche, but this is a big opportunity to cut your teeth against some very good players and very good teams, and could in some ways be in the shop window. Especially for some of the younger players that they get to get run out by Brian Schmetzer. What do you say, Chuck? What are your expectations for these two teams?
One of my closest friends, while I played in France at FC Sochaux, is on the technical staff of Al Ahly, and he was hyped. He thinks that they're going to win that group easily. That he thinks that they're going to be underrated because a lot of people don't know about Al Ahly. They're perennial champions. Like they're a strong side. So I think he thinks, hey, we're going to fly under the radar. We're going to surprise a lot of teams, and he's pumped. But I think Inter Miami have a really good shot if they can strengthen the roster. And it's going to be interesting after this season's done. Don Garber just signs an extension, right? All the MLS owners, they love what he's done. He's obviously continued to grow the league. Will they bend the rules? Will they start to change the structure of how MLS rosters are built? I think that's a big question, because if we want to be taken serious, I think the Seattle Sounders and Inter Miami need to be added, have the flexibility to add players so that we can challenge some of these teams. Now, the Sounders are going to have a really difficult time, even if we do change the rules. But I think Inter Miami could possibly strengthen to compete and get out of that group.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if this is an event or that's a catalyst, Tones.
That's where I was going to go, Jimmy. You hit the nail on the head. I wonder if this kind of moves the needle, because we keep talking about taking the training wheels off, and we've done that in so many ways in the league, right? We've made so many advancements. But there's a portion of owners that really want to see this thing just kind of open up, and there's a portion of owners that don't. And there's a league right now that doesn't want to see this thing open up. I've had conversations on an airplane one day with an executive at MLS talking about, well, if we open it up, then it's, that some teams won't be able to catch up. And I'm thinking, I'm not saying, I'm thinking to myself, well, this is kind of how sports runs, right? You got to have some rules, right? You just can't be, you just can't live with no rules at all. But there are some owners that want to spend big. Look, what the Moss brothers did should never be underestimated. Now, do I think that Inter Miami is really balanced in their way of doing it? No, it's not a balanced side at all. But if you just took Lionel Messi's money, or how about half of Lionel Messi's money, and let all the teams spend that much money that want to spend, think about how much better the rosters would be. And I think they need to be bigger. I think the depth needs to be bigger, which is where we talked about this a little bit the other day. I think guys are exhausted by the end of the year, and the teams who have the most depth in their roster, and when I say depth, everyone has the same number, but the drop off isn't the same from players number 12, 13, 14 to the bottom. For some teams, right? Like, it's a little bit more evenly matched there. Those are the teams that generally succeed in the league and last longer. But yeah, I'm with you. I wonder, because there's a chance, and I don't want to piss any Seattle Sounders fans off or Inter Miami, that they don't win a game in this thing, right? Either of the two teams. There's a real chance of that happening. We hope it doesn't happen. But then what if you go 2 or 3 tournaments where your MLS teams don't win a game, right? Then you have to, but okay, it's a bad look. But don't you sit in the offices in New York and go, hey, we're talking about being X, Y, and Z as a league. The only way to do that is to bring better players in all the time, right? And spend money. So you just wonder if that's where it goes. I don't know. We don't know. We'll find out. It's just a thought that comes to mind.